What up, y'all? It's Courtney of the Black Dad Chronicles, and we are here with episode number 6. And it's the first in a series that I wanted to do. That's the reason why I started the blog. The reason why I started the blog and the podcast is because I wanted to tell stories. I wanted to get black men on the show, or sitting down in a room somewhere, and we just talk about their fatherhood experiences. So right now, I'm letting you know that first episode of that is here. And let me go ahead and do the introduction before I get to rambling. So everybody has that one mentor in their life. It could be an uncle, could be a brother, could be a cousin, your father, or even a friend, generally older, but they look out for you when nobody else wants to look out for you, or nobody else wants to point you in the right direction. You always got that one person in your corner, just pushing you to where you need to go. And I'm telling you right now, I have that guy sitting here with me, put me on to various different hip-hop songs by supplying me with mixtapes back in the day. He's also my boss at a former time. He's also my son's godfather. And he is the catalyst as to why I actually met my wife. I'd like to introduce to you guys today my friend, my brother, my mentor, my OG, Kenyada Wilson.
Thank you for the introduction.
What's up, man? How you been?
Great.
Good.
Great.
Man, we were actually just having a conversation about rap before we got on the air, and he and I kind of, we're actually at the same place. As long as you don't take the new stuff seriously, you can enjoy it. And that's something I struggle with rap. But, I'm glad that I have somebody to talk to who has that, who can agree with me and sees where I'm talking to.
Amen.
That. So how you been?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
Doing well. New baby.
Yeah, I see you.
Older baby. Middle baby. baby.
So tell everybody about yourself.
Well, I am a father of 3. My oldest is 21. My youngest is 2 months. So it was a nice gap within there. I have a middle child. She's about to be 2. She's strong-willed. She reminds me so much of myself. Just so much. She gives me problems at every interval. But she has that daddy melting quality to her. So
she's a girl, man. They usually all do.
Yeah. Actually, all your kids have your number. Yeah. They know what number. They know how to get you, And I half of the fights between me and my wife are about the kids manipulating me to fight with the wife. So
hey, I've been there. So so oldest is 21.
Yes.
Youngest is 2 months.
Yes.
So how did that happen?
Well, a man and a woman usually get together. No, seriously. For a while, we just didn't think that we could have kids. Mm-hmm. And then in Brianna's junior year of high school, we were blessed with a son, Kingston, who didn't make it, and I love him to death. So to this day, I just miss everything about it. But we thought that was just that was it.
Okay. And
then the following year, a year later, along comes Elena. And then we thought that was it. And then along comes Trice. And then it's like, okay, hey, enough. I think God was just giving us a kind of a hey, you know what? You had some dark times in your life. You lost your mom. Mm-hmm. You lost your son. Mm-hmm. You lost your lifelong dog. You remember Diamond?
Yeah. Diamond.
Yeah, you lose 3 of your family members, and I get them replaced. And there's no replacing your mom or your son, but joy, the joy that we had got replaced.
Right.
And that was the thing that was that was eye opening for me. Like, wow, all of a sudden, we have my French bulldog Penny, which you saw on Facebook, I think, and Elena and Trice. And Bree's just a godsend, and my amazing wife Kia. I just gotta say hello to her. We've been on like this 4 or 5 minutes, and I gotta send a shout out to my wife.
Man, cause you just hit me out of the blue. You ain't hit me to tell me that y'all was expecting again. I got the text. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
another baby, man.
Well, it's always, and everyone says that, hey, you live your life behind a curtain, and I don't. It's just I don't speak about things until they're into existence. There was a lot of stuff. We had to go through a lot of tests, like a battery of tests, and things to get Elena here.
Okay.
And so with Trice, it was like we were just kind of sitting on the edge of our seats because, having lost a child, like you're just nervous about every interval. I mean, month after month after month, you're on edge until they get here, and then you don't breathe a sigh of relief until they've been here and you have them in your arms, and everyone says, "Well, it's okay, go ahead," and then you're overjoyed. So it was just nerve wracking until that point.
Okay. All right. So now, one thing that I'm really curious about, because I've been talking to Meech, because Meech has a 16-year-old and now 2 months yet. She's like 6 weeks, and I'm trying to like gauge the dynamic, between parenting, kids at that extreme age. But he has kids in the middle that kind of like fall in at every step.
Right.
But you got.
I have a young adult.
Yes. You do.
I have a young adult that's career driven, much different than having kids in the house.
Right.
But if you know Brianna, then it's just like having like a third toddler in the house. I love her to death. But it's good. But the surprising thing that people always say, like, oh, well, you do your parenting up until 18 and then you've made this adult. I've done more parenting from 18 to 21 than any of the years past. Like, it is you're like, wow, like, I thought I was going to be on cruise control. And then here's this parenting with the older one. Like, friends, career, school. And you're talking about these things and you're still coaching.
Yep.
And I guess, like, you never get to take your foot off of that pedal. Like, it's still, you're going to have your foot on the gas. You have to slow down at times. Because, like, sometimes they want you to give them the answer. And I don't want that. I want everything to be Brianna's decision, and I help her in whatever decision it is.
Okay. Yeah, my mom is, kind of like that. Look, here she is, 67, and I'm 36, and she's still, I'm like, Mom, you can ease off the gas. You don't always have to parent me and everything. She's like,
she has to.
I have to. That's her answer. She always has to.
And I guarantee when CJ's the oldest, so he's gonna be the one that you're gonna continue parenting.
Yeah, I can feel that right now.
Yes, that's my guy.
So, you have 2 girls and a boy, right?
I have 2 girls and a boy.
Okay, that boy is the last one.
That boy is the last one.
Oh man, so I'm pretty sure you were, because. You know how it used to back in the day. Like, yeah, man, gotta get that boy, and then I've talked to a lot of guys who kept wanting to have a boy and they wanted to have girls, and they kept trying, and they had a certain sense of disappointment, and not disappointment that they still had kids who they loved. They had these daughters who they loved and had to bring up and guard from the lions in this world, but they didn't have that satisfaction of having a son. Now, after you lost Kingston, did you kind of have that kind of sense of not disappointment, I should say, but
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Bree is I call Bree the flagship. Like, Bree is the franchise. So I wasn't worried about anything. I mean, my daughter. She's an athlete. She's a scholar. So everything that you would want from your son, I got from my daughter.
Okay.
Travel basketball, college basketball. I got everything.
Okay.
So listening to hip hop, like that was a shocker for me.
Oh really?
Although we disagree on a lot. She's heavy trap. I am not. I can get down, but we can car ride together, and that's cool.
Okay,
so,
that's good, man. That's what makes it work.
Yeah. So you say, like, did I miss anything aside from the testosterone and a boy trying to challenge me one day? No.
No. Okay.
No.
Oh, that's good.
No.
That's good.
And I know this sounds cliche, and parents say this all the time, but in my heart of hearts, I meant this. I just wanted a healthy baby.
Okay.
Just, it didn't matter. Girl or boy, I wasn't going to miss out on anything. Just give me healthy kids, and we can go from there.
Right. So I have this dynamic between my kids where they all kind of, especially the girls, they all kind of battle for my affection. And I love all my kids equally. But I will whisper to people that if I had to pick a favorite, which I don't have any favorite kids out there, guys, but if I had to pick a favorite, it would be Olivia. Because, one, she's the youngest. Two, we spent the most time together out of all three of my kids when they were, really, really young. And the fact that she's always happy and always in a good mood. And, after coming home from work and dealing with people, you don't want to deal with two moody kids who think they're smarter than you.
Right.
So, your kids are still young, the youngest two.
Right.
Okay. So you don't really necessarily probably have, I'm pretty sure Elena probably is just like, daddy.
Yes, she is, But, no, I love them all.
Yeah.
I love them all. They have a different quality. Even young Trice has a different quality. They're all amazing. Okay. They're all amazing. And people said like, "Hey, gun to your head, you have to pick which kid is your favorite, right?" I'm dead.
Okay.
I'm dead. I'm not taking that one.
And I guess I say the reason why I say that, Liv is and I shouldn't say favorite. I should say more enjoyable.
That is a very fair assessment.
More enjoyable.
More enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because if you start saying favorite, and then CJ gets wind of this, you think you had a tough time now, Just wait till after that one.
Yeah, and it's funny because they actually listen because I upload, the podcast goes to YouTube and they listen. And Jasmine be like, "Oh, you said Olivia was your favorite." I'm like, listen to the context, that I put. But because Jasmine's at that age, she's 10 and she's really smart, and she thinks she's smarter than us. And I love her for the fact that she doesn't like to get things wrong and she doesn't like to fail. But at the same time, she doesn't also allow for correction when she, because she'll, like, if she...
Well, I love that. I love the strong-willed kids. That's your challenge. That's your revenge. That's your revenge, and I think I'm opening my arms to my revenge. I got a little bit from Brianna. I'm gonna get a whole heap and helping of it from Elena. Even now, she likes to challenge me. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. So fast forward. So how long you and your wife been married?
We got married in 2006, but we had been together before then. Yeah,
because I remember, I was like, y'all ain't married yet? Because, since I've known you, Kia's been there. You know, ride, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, and I love seeing, I remember when we first moved back here and y'all first got the house and we came out, and I was like, I love y'all, the fact that y'all still, you know what I'm saying, in there. And a lot of people, sometimes it's uncomfortable when a lot of my friends would tell me that, like, you and Robert, y'all been in there for the long haul, that y'all are goals. I'm like, don't put that on me. But like, I could look up to you and y'all and be like, that's how you, and it's work, man. You
know my gosh, that's the word I was looking for.
Work.
Where every young couple or about to be couple like to listen to this statement. It is work. Every single day, every meal, it is work. You think like, hey, I'm going to come home and food's going to be cooked. It's like, hey, I work like you look.
Right.
Where's dinner? So it's the same thing, and it's work. And especially like early on, haven't even been together and living in separate houses until we got married. It was like, hey, now we live together. What do we do about bills? Oh, well, you pay your bills, I'll pay my bills. No, those are our bills. And people don't get that.
Yeah, because, when I was in the Navy, Robin didn't work. So I went to work. She paid everything. She was the family accountant. And now, now that she has to work, I was still kind of stuck like, well, I make more than you, so you still be the family accountant. And then, she would be like, don't you even want to look at this? I'm like, well, you got it. Because, listen, I don't make the smartest money decisions. You know, she is way more sound financially.
You
than
should
I am.
preface that with still. Because
Yeah,
when I met you you were not making the smartest financial decisions.
Hey.
And that was the thing that, I hoped for you to gain in your life travels. Hey, I think that was one of the things of advice I gave you. It's like, hey, look out for your money, look out for your family, and always make sure you have a place to, like a roof over your head and food for your family.
Yep.
And I think that was one of our parting, you going off into the world kind of deal. And I just remember that, and I was like, man, I hope he really gets it right.
Yeah.
So
I think I kind of, I'm getting there. I ain't finished yet.
No one is.
Yeah.
When you finish, you're dead.
Yep.
You're finished, you're dead.
Yeah. So I want to go back in time right now. So Robin and I have been married for 13 and a half years. But that one fateful day that we met in Walgreens at the photo counter, you remember that?
I remember it.
Okay.
I remember. I had seen her before, and I'm like, Courtney is in this courting stage of, like, looking for someone, and he always looks in the wrong spot, so let me make this really easy for him. And I had spoken to her before. She was nice, and I was like, man, like, maybe I'll steer him towards her, and it worked out. And and to be honest with you, I'm just glad you didn't mess it up.
Oh, thanks. So let me tell y'all the real story. Now, what he gave y'all kind of like the Cliff Notes version. So at the time, I was in a relationship, and I was coming to work just complaining about it every single day. And he was like, well, the next chick that comes in, talk to her. I'm like, what? Like, the next girl that comes in, talk to her. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm sitting there, like, just waiting. And we will slow that down. I'm just waiting. And then this young lady comes in, but it's a customer who, had came in all the time. And we knew she kind of had eyes for Cal, the other guy, the other the head photo tech. So I was like, nah, not her. So then Robin comes in, and she has her hair all out and like a little afro. And, I ain't know nothing about the natural hair phase, you know what I'm saying, if that was even a thing. So I just thought she was like, you know what I'm saying, on another wavelength. So I looked at him, he looked at me, he was like, just gave me that nod. So, as she was getting her negatives, developed, we was just going through. She had me pick them out, give her my opinion on them. And the funny thing is, we have been slow all day in photo. And then she was there, and it started getting crowded. Like, I look up, and it's like a line of people. I was like, hold on for a second. He walked up, he was like, nope, you got a customer. So, you finish, I'll take care of this. I'm like, bet. So, he pushed me towards it. And, I got her number, and the rest is history. You know what I'm saying? So, he helped me. Because, look, man, a lot of people don't know this. I had the primest of the primest real estate in the friend zone. I like to call myself the king of the friend zone because, I had all these friends and young ladies that I was chasing that, I think we should be better off as friends. And it just seemed like every single time I was like,
Because you had good guy qualities.
Yeah.
Good guys always finish last. Like, they do. I mean, it's true. You have a bad boy quality, you'll get a nice flock to challenge you. But like, if you did your homework, if you were the guy doing the homework, it was like, well, you do your homework, so I'm not interested.
Right.
But I saw that. Like, you were a genuine person, and you didn't want to get someone in that was going to misuse that quality. So that's why a lot of the young ladies and stuff that you were dating at that time was just like, I was like, for me, you always got the thumbs down. Mm-hmm. Like, get out. Mm-hmm. Like, please just get out now. Like, don't waste your money on the next date. Get out now. But like I said, Robin was very genuine. Like, I had spoken to her before. I even hinted at it. Like, I'll tell you what, I hinted about, some nice guys around here, And it worked out. And I actually met, I think her mom was with her when I met her. Like, we talked before that.
Probably
that
her grandma.
Yeah. That fateful day, And I was happy. I was extremely happy for you.
All right. So I'm going to flip the tables. How did you and Kia meet?
We met at church.
Really?
Yes, we were.
Give us that story.
We grew up together.
Really?
Yeah, so it's not like this particular moment we met. Like, we've known each other our whole lives, and we just decided to hang out together, and then from then it went into a relationship, and then now she's like my tag team partner in this championship. You know,
get the hot tag.
She gets the hot tag a lot. You know, I get in, I get beat up, and then she hot tags in and gives me a break. So that's my partner.
Yeah, man, and it's funny because we can use wrestling analogies. Like
Absolutely.
I can throw a wrestling analogy out to you, and you would pick because we used to watch, man,
tons of wrestling.
Tons of wrestling.
And then, but you know, you can even use it in a hip hop sense. You know, she was my fight dog.
Yep.
Hey, you know, I got to meet Q-Tip. I was a little bit eclectic, and then she came in with the hard rhyme. So yeah, my wife, that's my partner.
Okay. So, because Robin and I haven't had, you know, we got our first car together, but we kind of like been, I don't want to say globe-trotting because, you know, we haven't always lived in Michigan.
Right.
So we haven't necessarily, and I want to talk about buying your first house.
Oh,
right?
cool.
So Robin and I haven't bought our first house yet.
Right.
How was that?
Wow. So I gotta tell you the story behind it. My first house, I actually we went out. Kia did the legwork. Like, she would line up all these houses, and it seemed like she was lining them up for me to say no. Like, how about this house? No. This house? No. This house? No. And we just couldn't find something that we liked. So it was coming time for us to get married. We're searching. You know, we're searching. It's just like, okay, we don't have anything. So actually, when we left, you know, because we went on a cruise, so we left. We didn't have a house to come back to for us together until we got back.
Oh wow!
And we had a pending offer on a house, and then in the middle of our cruise, I think we were in the middle of going to Aruba. Like, they call us, like, you got the house. So I'm faxing papers via the middle of the ocean back home to purchase our house. But the thing is that you'll know when you get, like, the money will line up, the comfort will line up, the school system will line up, and you'll know. But you have to look at a lot of houses, and I don't have an eye for fixer upper or, you know, the incomplete project. She can go in and see something like, hey, this house is perfect, and I'm like, it has green paint. She's like, you can change the paint. I'm like, no, I don't like it, and I'm like running towards the door. So the house that we got was pretty much move-in ready, and that's where we ended up.
Okay, so in terms of your marriage, right? So I like to kind of, you know, I term myself the CEO of our house, of the McIntosh family.
Right.
But Robin's the CFO because, like I said, she still makes, you know, the smarter money decision.
Right.
And one thing that I had to learn, and, you know, y'all gonna have to learn this if, you know, you're not necessarily good with it, especially if you're not good with money. You have to learn, you know, when to, you know, do certain things when it comes to, you know, financials. So financially, were y'all both, like, responsible? Because I know you never really bought anything except for CDs.
That's not true. Everything that I bought, I did research for.
Okay.
So I would never just go out and find a pair of shoes that I liked and just purchase them right then. It's like, no, I'm going to go home. I'm going to check every retailer to see if I can save $10 or $15 here. And no, I'm like not majorly cheap because, you know, I just look for the better deal. Right. Like, I'm going to get what I want, but I'm looking for the better deal.
Okay.
My wife is the face value. If we lived in third world country where you had to barter, everyone would get they would get what they were asking for. There'd be no negotiation because she doesn't like to haggle. Like, if I start with that stuff, like if I'm like, hey, well, can I get this cheaper? She'll leave, like, wherever store we're in. Wow. Like, but then end up getting it cheaper and it benefits us. But financially, just irresponsible, I would say no. Okay. Uninformed, I would say we both were. And now being together and being in a situation where you're trying to work towards goals, you kind of like, hey, is this the best option for us? Like, you know, hey, is this pair of sneakers going to contribute to my goal of, you know, buying a vacation home, or, a boat or whatever comes, whatever's coming down the line.
Right.
You always have to make sure that, hey, I'm thinking about the big picture, not my emotional state right then.
Yeah, and that's what, I'll be honest, that's what kind of threw me off, because when I joined the Navy, it's like, man, getting this money, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I'm looking at my bank account, and I'm like, man, like, I'm used to getting, $200, $300 every 2 weeks at
Right.
Walgreens, then to jump into, getting $1,500 every week, every other week. I'm like, dog, balling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was reckless. I was, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't reckless, but you know what I'm saying? Hey, as soon as the PlayStation 3 came out, I had it. And
I'm just glad it was a PlayStation 3 and not a Benz.
Yeah.
Because you would have ran to that one and hugged it. So I'm just glad that you made a minor mistake instead of like a lifelong mistake.
Yeah. Oh man, shoes.
Because those are the ones that are marriage enders right there.
Yeah.
You sink someone financially, and it's hard to love someone that is destroying you financially. It happens, and I know people say, "Well, I love this person," but you can love someone and hate them at the same time if they're doing the financial stuff wrong, because they make everything else harder. Harder to eat, harder to survive. Your phone keeps ringing because the bills keep piling up, and that's hard on any. Like, not to mention the culmination of two lives into one life. Now you have financial stuff on top of it, and I can see why people get divorced for financial reasons, and it's unfortunate.
All right, now which one of you two are the stronger willed?
Wow.
And I got a reason why I asked that question.
Wow. If you ask Kia, she's gonna say me. I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm gonna say me.
Okay.
I would probably have to say me, because I can talk her down. Like, once I'm angry, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, we might as well just burn everything up. Like, this is done.
Scorched earth.
Right.
Like, I asked that question because so recently I've kind of got more involved with the bills, and notice I'm talking a lot of financial stuff, because it's one of those it's a chief component when you become an adult.
Wow.
Yes,
it is.
So I had to, like I said, I had to learn how to pay bills. I had to learn how to budget responsibly, and I'm still learning. But Robin, when it comes to Robin is it's funny, because I'm like Kia in a sense. If Robin's always trying to look for the cheaper deal, the better deal, and if I have my mind set on something and then Robin tells me no, it's just like, no, forget it. You pick, But I asked that because recently, probably like the last year and a half, I start focusing more on what bills we need to pay where, and it seemed like Rob was giving me pushback, because she like, and I told her, I want to just know what we paying. She like, you just all of a sudden want to, be all up on the bills now. So she was giving me pushback for that. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one of those day to day.
Well, that happens, and it still happens with us too. Like, show me the receipts. The show me the receipts moment comes up. But you have to realize that when people get into a system and then the other person is not helping, like, it's difficult to let someone else in because you have something. A lot of people pay bills differently, and we have a process, okay? And the process for paying bills is that, everyone gets something. Some people are going to get bigger share, but everyone gets something. And when something gets paid off, you get to move that money to the next thing that's more important. So it's funny that you're talking financials. Me and the wife are going to Dave Ramsey convention.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like, that's not a plug for Dave Ramsey unless he wants to sponsor me. Hey, Dave. So we're going to a convention to better help us in our scenario, because we have life goals of, moving somewhere else, traveling, of course, and other things that we want to do. So, yeah, you have to look out for the money in order to get to that point. So, budget.
Okay. So, having a 2-year-old, right? Physically on you, how is that? Because I know how 2-year-olds can, I used to just be all on the ground.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Rolling around.
So, my athleticism has caught up with me. my early life injuries has caught up with me. So getting on the ground is, I can get down there. I just don't know how fast we're gonna get back up. But kids always like, hey, don't parent from the couch. That's our big thing. And anyone's out there, don't parent from your couch. And by parent from the couch is, hey, don't do that. Move that here. Move there. Give me a drink of water. Get the remote for me. Don't be that parent. Like, get up and be active. And sometimes after a long day at work, you have to do that. Yep. You have to chase the 2-year-old around. You have to get on the floor and play with the Legos that will soon be embedded in your feet because how many Lego injuries? I actually have a blocks injury. I'm gonna let Courtney see that from my my nice highly sprained ankle from stepping on one of Elena's toys. So,
man, I remember I got a 4-piece square stuck in my kneecap, my left kneecap.
That's awful.
Yeah. So right now, I want to thank our sponsor. Our sponsor for the day is Cake Couture. So listen, you got the holidays coming up. We just had Easter, so you got Memorial Day coming up, 4th of July coming up. And, a lot of people have potlucks in the summer, and everybody doesn't like to cook. Everybody doesn't know how to cook, So why not, especially when it comes to desserts, so why not buy them from somewhere else? And I'm not talking about going to Meijer or Walmart and just picking up one of their prepackaged, pies or cakes. Because simply put, they use trash ingredients and they're not going to taste good when it comes down to it. So, you want some good tasting snacks, treats, hit up Cake Couture. She does wedding cakes, corporate events, birthdays, life events, baptisms, whatever you need, just because.
Special guest for your podcast.
Yes.
Oh, wait. That didn't happen.
Oh, yeah. You gave me. I'm gonna do that from now on. So, what you can get at Cake Couture, you get cakes, cupcakes, chocolate covered berries, anything you want. She could do. She's quick, really fast turnaround. She's just with it. So, you want to go to the website, it's www.couturecakery.com. That's coutured, COUTURED, cakery.com. Phone number is 313-914-1116. And listen, she has a Facebook page. But do not try to place an order through Facebook Messenger. She doesn't have Facebook Messenger. She won't have Facebook Messenger. So hit her up through the website or the phone number that I just gave. That's www.couturecakery.com, 313-914-1116. All right, so when I tell you this man and I have had a long relationship, and we've gone through things that, you just through hip-hop, hooping, life. He's been there, first kids, he's been there with me every single step of the way. So, let's go back to hoop. You remember we used to go hoop every Friday in the summertime.
Yep.
And we gotta, it's funny that we gonna tell this story. But, hey, that's what you do with your friends. So, he always brings up the fact that he crossed me super viciously. And you know what? I'll admit that happened. I have to admit that because look, man, I take pride in defense, and I don't generally get crossed over because I'm smart. You know what I'm saying? I'm smart. But hey, he got me one day, and he'll never let me forget it. But he never brings up the time where I got him.
Oh boy.
So, hey, and one mixtape volume 3 had just came out. We were all trying to be hot sauce, man. We was all
me.
Yeah, not.
I had my own game.
Yeah.
Like hot sauce was something different.
Yeah, so I'd seen mixtapes where Skip just crossing over, then just bounced the ball off somebody's forehead. So I'm like, man, I gotta do that to somebody someday. And it just so happened, Ken was guarding me. So I'm like, I wonder if I can get him with this. So I'm coming down. And it's funny because he and I kind of had similar games where we weren't flashy. We're just kind of like, well, he was flashier than I am. Than I was. I was trying, but, I didn't really have time for all that, So coming down, crossover, boom, hit him with the ball on the forehead. Go by him. And I will never forget the look on his face because I'm still picturing it now. Like, pissed. So that's the one hoop story that I have. Even though we got plenty. That's the one hoop story.
So I want to tell the truth version of how that happened. And the truth version of that was, in his head, he came down and he was looking sweet, and he was not looking sweet. And the part about him going by me, that was inaccurate also. But what was true is him bouncing the ball off of my face, and the look that I gave him. Like, that was true. And the ball did not keep going like he said. It went out of bounds, and I was just sitting there in disbelief because he had just hit me in the face with the ball trying to do something that he hadn't even practiced. So here I am with a stunned face, and I was just so angry. But it's just like, it's that moment. It's that moment where, you know, I like to think of Courtney as my little brother. My little brother was trying to come of age, and instead he just hit me in the face with a ball. So, you know, you could want to, like, hit him, but it's just like, it's your little brother. And I just remember just staring at him profusely like this.
Yeah, man. All right, so, like I said, so one of the things that he really put me on when we were younger was, well, when we were younger, was, and it's funny when I say when we were younger, because for the longest time, I never knew how much older Ken was than me. You know, I'd be like, oh, it's your birthday. Yeah, man, happy birthday. How old are you?
Happy birthday.
Yep. that was what he used to give me all the time. So it was just kind of like, man, like, how old is, you know? But like, when I tell y'all, he put me up on hip hop, like real hip hop, you know, and we, like I said, before we even recorded, we were just talking about it. So, you know what your favorite mixtape was that you gave me?
That I gave you?
Yes.
I don't know.
Because you gave it to me more than once.
Really?
The KRS-One mixtape.
Oh, wow.
That was your go-to.
Wow. I had so many different ones for different people.
Yeah.
I can't even recall that one. I know I love KRS.
Yeah.
But,
All right, and I bring up hip-hop because, y'all know, on last week's episode, I caught heat. And I caught heat because I named Mace as one of my top 5 favorite rappers. And I guess I didn't clarify why Mace was in my top 5. And notice, I said my top 5 favorite rappers, not the greatest MCs of all time. But then I started thinking about it after I listened to the podcast over. And I'm like, man, I was slipping on a lot of these because it was 2 people. Well, it was one person for sure who I left off the list, you know. So if you had to give me your favorite, not the best, your favorite 5 of all time, who would they be?
Wow. So favorite, Rakim, all time. My goodness, I can listen to Rakim anytime. You know, birthdays,
okay,
bar
so
mitzvah,
all right, so let me ask you this, right? And I'm talking about so what is the criteria for your favorite 5?
For my favorite is what that artist invokes inside of me. So when people say, you know, hey, here are the best 5, I always take offense to that because it's their best 5. You can have, you know, everyone has a different favorite 5 or a best 5 MCs. That doesn't mean that your artist is worse than my artist. That means that artist moved you more than, you know, it moved someone else. But I don't think that anyone can argue that Rakim belongs on that list.
Yeah.
Where you place him, it's fine. But for me, it's always number 1.
Okay.
So you have to be able to storytell. That's one thing. It has to make sense.
Yep.
You know, I'm big on the message. Like, what are you telling the people? Like, are you letting the people know this is entertainment, or are you telling them this is your way of life? Those are like some of the criteria for me. I like to laugh a little bit, so sometimes we can slip something in. Like Big would make something, and he would say, "Oh, you know, this is something like an entendre, so it means something else." So you're laughing about that. But that's my criteria.
All right. So who else you got on your list?
So Rakim, Biggie. Believe it or not, this one's gonna shock you. Tupac but not Tupac in his current incarnation as Machiavelli, because there was so much emotion and passion in that album. Like, yes, it's a hateful, spiteful album, but you know what? That he put that, like, I was able to feel all of that in that album. So I have to put him in there because he made me change my whole opinion of him. I felt like he was an actor that started believing a role versus, you know, that being him all the time. But that Machiavelli album was like, hey, I'm angry, and you need to know about it.
Right.
So, he's on there.
Okay.
Nas.
Okay.
Love Nasir Jones.
One more.
Wow. That last spot.
Up for grabs?
Yes. I'm gonna put it up for grabs because 5 is always a weird number for me.
It is. It's like it's just a weird number in general.
Yeah,
too.
it's just like you always get to that 5, and you know I could say Jay-Z because I was feeling Jay-Z a lot, and then there are some lesser knowns that I can throw in there. And there's some people from nowadays that I would put in my top 10. Yeah. And for all the flack that people give him, I actually like Drake.
I love Drake.
I'm a huge Drake fan. It will surprise a lot of hip hop people. I'm a huge Drake fan.
Yeah. I think when Drake is, you know, rapping, and I don't mind the songs where he's singing, but when he's rapping,
I think the whole thing is good because it's him.
Yep.
I don't think that, you know, and then people always, they're the accusation of ghostwriting. Hey, people, guess what? A lot of your favorite rappers have ghostwriters.
A lot.
You know, call Mad Skills. He'll tell you that he wrote a lot of verses for a lot of people. A lot
of verses that you like, oh man, that was fire. Yeah. Your favorite rapper didn't write that. Skills wrote that.
Skills wrote that, and Skills is on my list too.
Yeah.
Not in the top 10, but Skills is definitely on there. A lot of people were giving you flack about Mace, but that was something that brought something out of you. I rock with Mace too. He wouldn't have been in my favorite 5, but he doesn't mean the same thing to me as he does to you. And you shouldn't have to take flack for that. I applaud you for standing up for it. I myself would not have done that, but I get it.
All right, so what I had to do with my criteria, I had to look at people, I had to look at rappers, and I had to look at how they made me feel. And if I could just, like, listen to them rap. Like, I could put on Harlem World, and I could just listen to Harlem World straight, not skip anything. I could turn on Double Up and probably maybe skip one song, but I could just listen. Mace is just one of those guys who I could listen to rap. Man, go and get, and it's out there on YouTube, go and get Funkmaster Flex Volume 2. Mace got a 7-minute freestyle where he rapping and Puffy in that background throwing ad-libs out, and you like, oh man, that was Mace? Yes. That was Mace. You know, so I put Mace on there just because, you know, like I told the story last week, me and my boy E we was bad boy fiends. Like, you know.
There was nothing wrong with that because that was a good era.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised, and I've given you like 2 shows now to mention it. You don't mention the Mace with Cameron.
Yes,
that was the best ever.
I was getting there.
I mean, that deserved first mentions. You know, you mentioned the Harlem World album where they all were on this together. Like, you know, that was not good.
No, I'm not talking about Harlem World.
I know which one you're talking about. I'm talking about the group. You even mentioned the group, but you didn't mention him with Cam.
Yeah, I did.
And you didn't even mention his hoop skills too. So, you know, Mace can hoop too. But that's one of those things that, you know your artist.
Yeah.
Love your artist. That's the thing about the beauty of hip hop. You can say, hey, you ever heard of this artist? No? Well, here, check this out. And then you just bring up more and more and more stuff. So,
and it's kind of like a sharing thing. Like,
it is.
You may know some people who I've never heard of. Right. I may know some people that you never heard of. But like, hey man, why don't you listen to this real quick? Turn it on in the car. Like my brother used to play Lil Wayne all the time, and it's like if you know me, I've never been a Lil Wayne fan, even since like the Hot Boy. So I acknowledge Lil Wayne can rap. I just wasn't a fan of his.
And that's what people need to realize, is that you may not be a fan of someone. Like, I personally, I don't care for T.I. I know he's good at his craft.
Yep.
He has a huge following. Yep. But it does nothing for me. Another one is Rick Ross. But that's for multiple reasons. I'm not gonna go in depth about Rick Ross, but it just doesn't mean the same thing to me that it means to everyone else.
Exactly. Like I don't get why people like Future. I don't.
He has a good sound,
and I can hear that.
There you go.
I can hear that.
But the thing about artists like Future is you can't take him serious.
Right.
He hasn't shot anyone.
Right.
He doesn't sell drugs every day.
He doesn't even do drugs.
No.
He even admitted.
Well, actually, he does.
Well,
but
he's not, Molly Percocet every day.
No, not every day. Not every day. But he's dabbled, and you know what? That sells record for him.
Yeah.
But I wish that artists would take the time to think about the lives that they influence,
the consequences.
There are kids out there that don't know that this is entertainment, and that's one of the things that I had to figure out what I was going to do. Going back to the fatherhood thing with Brianna, was I had to teach you that this is not life.
Right.
This is an art form.
Right.
Okay, appreciate it for what it is. Like, your favorite artist is not going out there killing people.
Right.
Your favorite artist is trying to sell records.
Yep.
And if that's what's going to sell records, guess what? That's what your favorite artist is going to say.
And it's funny because we bring up Future. So I was watching you remember My Song?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I was watching. Man, that Clue tape, man, that Violator tape.
He told you can't handle the truth,
man. So My Song was on the Breakfast Club last week, and so he said one of his issues with guys like Future and guys that push like drug rappers, guys back in our day, they rapped about it. But they also rapped about the consequences that came with living that lifestyle, But guys nowadays, they just rap about it like it's all fun, and they don't rap about the consequences until you see a picture of Soulja Boy pouring lean in a cup and he halfway slumped over. Nobody talks about the consequences of it, and I guess that's kind of my problem that I have with it too. But at the same time, I separate the fact that it's entertainment.
Right, it's entertainment. But who told you it was entertainment? Probably a parental figure.
Yeah.
Some type of mentor let you know that this is not real life. And that's a gap that we have in our community.
Yeah.
Is that we don't have someone to tell the kids, if the artists choose not to, that, hey, this is entertainment. Yep. It's like watching a movie. You're not going to go out and do the same stunts that you saw on X-Men, right?
Right.
So why are you going to go listen to an album and try to do the same things that they're talking about on an album?
Right. That's why, people also get flack for being a wrestling fan. I'm like, it's performance art. Wrestling is performance art.
If someone gives you flack about being a wrestling fan, you should give them flack about being a reality TV show fan, because it's the same thing.
My sister does that all the time.
Same thing. The Real Housewives of insert here.
Yep.
I would like to see maybe the Real Housewives of Hamtramck, Michigan,
yeah,
or Highland Park, Michigan, or insert somewhere else, because all they're gonna do is just feed the negativity through it. They feed I hate the Housewives shows because they have a negative depiction of black women.
Oh yes.
I'm sorry, I have to put it out there and say that, because people say, well, that's not how it is. But to someone on the outside looking in, someone that may not be from the same community, same culture, same color, will see that, and they will expect that type of attitude coming from my daughter.
Yep.
She doesn't deserve that.
Right.
They don't know her. So they put that stigmatism on her, and then they're like, hey, I know what she's going to do. She's going to neck roll when I tell her she doesn't get her away with something.
Or she's going to get all loud and snap her fingers.
Security.
Yep. So, all right. So I have to re-clarify my favorite 5 now. And you know what? It's funny because it's always changing. And I start thinking about guys who I love listen to rap. So here it is. My favorite 5 MCs. So my favorite MC of all time, LL Cool J. And I see you shaking your head, and his last 3 albums was trash.
6. 10 maybe.
I mean, I don't, and I think for him, it may be more of the fact that his acting.
He's an actor.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just like if you were an Ice Cube fan.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing. Is once you reach a certain plateau in your career where you have other opportunities, your first art form is going to suffer.
Yeah.
Look at LL Cool J's one.
Yeah.
Then you have Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Common.
Yeah.
That one hurt.
Yeah, that did. Because I used to put Like Water for Chocolate on. Like I told y'all last week, I used to put Like Water for Chocolate on and burn incense and just write poems to it. You know,
if Black Thought ever gets a TV show, I'm probably gonna find a bridge. That man has skills.
He does, man.
I would hate to see him lose that.
Me too. And so it's just, man, with LL is heartbreak. With Common is even more heartbreaking because it seemed like he was still trying to be.
He tried
rapper
yes.
while going more into acting, and it's like every project you kind of just felt him fall off. With LL, he had some gaps between a lot of his projects, but then when he came out, like, oh man, this is trash.
Well, he changed who he was.
Yeah, he did
multiple times, and you gotta applaud him. He's our version, hip hop's version of Madonna.
Yeah,
like he just keeps evolving.
Yeah,
his music doesn't,
nope.
but he does, and I appreciate him for who he is.
Yeah,
like, I loved a lot of LL Cool J's earlier stuff. I love what he's built himself up to be.
Mm-hmm.
You can still look at him and say, "Hey, that's hip hop."
Yeah.
Same thing with Will Smith. Hey,
yeah.
That's hip hop.
It is.
He told some good stories.
Yep.
But now he's an actor, and hey, love him for acting.
Yeah.
That music is done.
Yeah, it is.
It is done.
Yeah. Like, so you brought up a name that's interesting to me, T.I. Mm-hmm. So I've never, while I acknowledge T.I. can rap, he can really rap, and he got some songs that I like. It's just once he got his TV show, and then would drop songs where he's still rapping about trapping. It's kind of like, come on, dog.
How can you trap and you're a celebrity?
How can you trap and you're a celebrity living in a big ass house in the suburbs?
You're a celebrity. Stop.
Yeah, and it's like that's when you at the point where like, okay, they're just trying to sell records.
Well, I like how Eminem backed off of it. There was a time where I'm like, dude, you're not poor anymore. You don't have that struggle.
No.
Biggie said that too.
Yep.
Hey, I don't have to rap about being hungry anymore because I'm not hungry.
Right.
So rap about what you do.
A lot of and it's funny because a lot of the older generation still tries to appease to the kids sometimes, and it just comes off like, what are you doing? Like, I like Big Sean, and I never really was a Big Sean fan until this past album.
I decided.
Yeah. Yeah. And, this is the first Big Sean album that I really listened to, like,
Well, this is the first one that he's put together completely.
Yeah.
That you can say, hey, this is a body of work.
Because Dark Sky Paradise has some songs on it.
Yes, some songs.
Some songs.
Some songs, And that's another thing. No one can put together, like a whole album anymore. Drake put together one. I was like, wow, Even the wife was listening to it. Like, hey, let's put on Drake.
Yeah,
what? Let's do it. Not all.
No.
But he has that notch on his belt. Same thing with Jay-Z, Biggie, Pac, LL at one time in the 80s, probably. Oh, you know what? Hey, don't forget Kendrick Lamar. Like, we've had a hip-hop conversation without mentioning, in my opinion, what could be, like, the greatest right now.
Yeah, I here's the thing. Like, I've only listened to maybe 2 songs off the new album.
Yeah.
And they was dope. Peter Rosenberg said last week Kendrick is the greatest of all time.
Peter Rosenberg likes to get ratings.
Yes, he does. I don't believe Kendrick is the greatest of all time.
Peter Rosenberg has his hand in so many different projects.
He does.
He's in wrestling. He's in hip hop.
ESPN.
He's dabbling in sports. Yep. I get it. Yep. Hey, man, increase anything to build your brand. Go ahead and do it. Yeah.
But I look, man. I like Kendrick. The only album, like I said, I haven't heard the new album fully yet. I've got all his other albums, even Untitled.
Hey, Good Kid, Mad City should have told you right then what was coming next.
And that's a lot of stuff that's missing. Storytelling.
That is the main component of hip hop. Like you were talking about the album that you can listen to. I can listen to Hell on Earth. That was one long dark story, but it was a story. And I was listening to Hell on Earth, and I'm like, man, from start to finish. I could do the whole album.
Kanye West's first 2 albums, I could do that too.
The Lower End Theory by Tribe Called Quest. Like I told you, that was my that was my nightcap. I'm going to bed listening to the Lower End Theory. You know.
So all right, so here's my review. My after thinking some thought, after giving it real thought, and not just like, oh man, let me just throw together a list real quick. So thoughts. Black Thought is on the list because I love anything the Roots do. I was the only guy I know who liked Phrenology.
I like Phrenology.
Okay, so
you actually called me on that.
Yes.
You were like, "Hey, you like Phrenology?" I was like, "Yes." It's a Roots album. Of course, I like it.
So I mean, and it's just, you know, like I brought up last week in that little BET cipher when it was him, Mos Def, and Eminem, he crushed it. He crushed it. I mean, and like Black Thought, 75 miles of running, like, or 75 bars of running, like he crushes that.
You know what doesn't get mentioned a lot in hip hop circles?
What?
What I think is probably like the longest freestyle ever was Killer Priest, that 11-minute freestyle. I remember falling asleep and waking up and he was still rapping, but it was good. Yeah. So, you know.
I mean, it's crazy. Like a lot of guys who we used to look at like, oh man, dope. They don't get mentioned no more.
No, I heard you mention Capodanno, which that made me smile. Mm-hmm. You know, he had a very brief career.
Yeah, man.
But
he bought the album.
He was the third person in that Ghostface and Raekwon trio. Mm-hmm. Like it became a trio when he came along. But yeah, he was quality at that time.
I believe I bought all the solo projects, at least all the first solo projects from every Wu-Tang member.
The most disappointing was probably You God.
I even bought You God. I bought Master Killer.
That.
Oh, man.
I still have You God's album. Man. I'm not going to let it go.
You can't. You can't.
I'm going to keep it.
You can't let it go, you know? Okay, so let's get to it. So I got Black Thought on the list. Biggie's on the list just because of how... Now, Biggie wasn't rapping lyrical, miracle, schmiracle, spiritual, you know what I'm saying? Biggie wasn't, but Biggie could rhyme, and like Biggie told stories. Yes. Like I brought up, you know what I'm saying? I got a story to tell. Yes. Now, you know, the rumor is that was about Anthony Mason. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace, Anthony Mason.
Oh my gosh.
But, you know,
I'm such a fan of his hoop game.
He raps the song, and then at the end of the song, when he's talking, he tells the story again.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So Biggie's on my list. Black Thought's on my list. Mace is on my list. I'm not taking Mace off my list.
Stand no strong, reason. Brother. Stand strong.
Kanye West is on my list. And the first 2 Kanye albums, the first 3 Kanye albums was fire. Now, it was some songs that you could have left off. And I think one of Kanye's problems is he makes his projects maybe 1 or 2 or 3 songs too long. So... After 808s and Heartbreak, I was really into 808s and Heartbreak because of the music element of it. And I remember College Dropout. I bought high-quality headphones just because he was saying, I'm working with John Bryan on this project. It's going to be more musically. And I was like, I got to hear it. So one of the purchases that I never told Robin about was a pair of $150 headphones that I bought when I was on deployment. And she never knew about it. You know,
she knows now.
She knows if she listens, but she knows now. But you know, and I bought those headphones just because Kanye was talking about how musical that album was going to be, and you could hear it. You know, it took me a long time to listen to My Dark Twisted Fantasy. It took me a long time. Like, I mean, December was when I first started listening to that album. I didn't like. I liked Life of Pablo was okay.
I thought, you know what? I thought that was it was different.
It was,
and
different.
I appreciated it for what it was.
Me too.
I did.
And the fact that he had so many different people on that album, and it wasn't like it was out of place. You know, like if you go back to My Dark Twisted Fantasy and listen to All of the Lights, he got like 7 people singing a hook on that song.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The only one who really gets credit is Rihanna. But he had Rihanna, Charlie Wilson, he had Kid Cudi, you know what I'm saying, singing on that. And it's just, it worked, you know? So, I'm at number 5. So, number 5, special for me, right?
Special Ed.
No, not Special Ed. No, I'm not even no, not special ed. So, I remember when I was on deployment, I was on the internet hearing about this group, a trio from North Carolina. And, like, oh man, they the new Tribe Called Quest. They bring back, because at that point, it was the snap era. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was snapping your fingers, wearing like 6X long t-shirts. Oh. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, man, I gotta hear these cats. So you couldn't find a listening nowhere, which is their first album. And if you ain't caught on to who I'm talking about, it's a little brother. I actually found a listening over in Dubai. I remember I bought the listening and I bought Consequences album over in Dubai because I couldn't like find them on Amazon or anything like that. So bought the listening, and that whole album tells a story that's like one long night. And tells the story of a radio station from like the midday show to the next morning. Phonte is on my list at number 5 because Phonte can rap lyrical, lyrical, you know what I'm saying? But he can also straight up and tell you a story, rap you a story, or sing you a story about what's going on in his personal life, and you can relate to it. So Phonte Coleman of Lil Brother, now of the Foreign Exchange, is my 5. So my 5 favorite artists of rappers of all time, and this is just my favorite. Got Phonte, Kanye, Mace, Black Thought, and LL Cool J. So
I want to bring a different 5. Can I bring up a different 5?
Yeah, you can bring up. Yeah,
it's gonna be a different 5. These are people that I like that don't really get the credit that they deserve, and that hey, they do something for me. Number 1 is Sean Price.
Ooh,
my goodness,
P.
I love P. Rest in peace to Sean Price. Slum Village.
Mm-hmm. The original Slum Village.
Yes, the original Slum Village. Elzai.
Man.
Did you hear Elmatic?
Yes, I heard El. Oh my goodness.
Goodness. I had to send something out, Michigan based. Like you gotta throw the city a bone.
Yeah.
I like T Grizzly's song right now. You know who T Grizzly is? I hope you know who T Grizzly is.
I'm sorry, I don't.
So you don't?
No.
First Day Out.
Okay, I know what that song is. I've never listened to it. Because it's funny, I was in Kroger the other day, and the bagger was trying to put me on a T Grizzly.
Oh, you should have listened to the bagger.
Okay.
Havoc of Mobb Deep,
You like Havoc more than you like Prodigy?
P has gone awry, and he needs to be wheeled back in. I love P, but Havoc is, how they have that segment in wrestling, the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Havoc was the other guy for so long. For so long, he was the other guy. But I think that he definitely deserves to get some mention. And as I'm going through my phone, I know I forgot someone real quick.
Because I can give you rappers that I like for days, and
yes.
rappers that are really good.
And one that I forgot was Method Man.
Yeah,
Method Man meant a lot to a lot of different people. Mm-hmm. And then people always oh, they want to associate Method Man with Redman. Redman deserves his own mention.
Yes, he does.
If you ever listen to Redman remixes,
mm-hmm.
Did you listen to that?
Never.
Please check it out.
I will.
It's every song that you like from back in the day, just with him on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he remakes, what is that?
I gotta check this out.
Yeah, Redman remixes, check it out. Gosh.
But man, Reggie Noble is a guy who he just gave you who he was all the time.
All the time.
All the time. And that's refreshing to see because everybody's playing a character, But, man, I used to love Redman. And Tonight's the Night. One of my favorite songs of all time.
I bet if you put that beat on, people would know exactly. They would know the beat, but they didn't know that, he was... he was the catalyst.
And then Hurricane G, yo, Redman. Hey, man, listen. But all right. So I kind of want to Because we could sit here and talk rap for hours. We could sit here, and so it's funny that you brought up Wu Tang a lot today, because you heard that I named Triumph the best posse cut of all time.
I gotta disagree, but
a lot of people disagree with me.
There's enough out there. Even Brooklyn Zoo, I felt like was with Old Dirty's friends. Lesser known Wu Tang people was pretty good.
You got the Symphony, which look,
the Symphony is definitely on there.
That's, I mean, look at everybody I was on there.
Yeah,
you know,
and then everyone argues about who had the best verse on the Symphony.
Who do you think had the best verse on the Symphony? Because I want to know if you think of who I'm thinking.
Wow. For me, I think it was either Kane or Master Ace.
Really?
Yeah. Even though I like Cool G raps.
Yeah, I was going to say, it got to be Kane or Cool G rap on it.
He always has to take a back seat.
So underrated.
Yes.
Man.
Because the Juice Crew was good, man.
Yeah.
Even Craig G held his own on that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's one. The Roots had a posse cut, and they called it the longest posse cut ever. Oh, you look shook. I've
never heard this before. Hold on.
They have a posse cut. I think it was 14 minutes. It's either 11 or 14 minutes, but you got to check that out.
I will. I'm gonna just go to YouTube. Scenario, which used to be my favorite. You got Money, Power, Respect.
Yes. The Locks don't deserve... Like, we had the conversation about the Locks. Mm-hmm. And I said that for the longest, my favorite had been Styles P. I like Jada. Mm-hmm. And everyone thought that was going to be the breakout star of it. Styles P, the Ghost, is probably the greatest out of that group. And he is in my top 20.
Yeah.
He is in my top 20.
If I had to write down, he does.
He deserves to be.
You heard the new joint with Talib?
That guy.
Man.
That guy. Talib and
now he's just
Mos Def in whichever incarnation he's in right now.
Boy,
those guys were his storyteller.
Yep.
And that's the thing that we lack.
Yep.
Miss Fat Booty.
Mm-hmm.
That's a story.
That's a whole story.
That's a story. And people don't appreciate that, and that's the element of hip hop that we miss.
Hey, Brown Skin Lady.
Brown Skin Lady.
Man, I mean, Twice in a Lifetime. What else off that? Because that's a posse cut too. The last song on the album, and it's just, I remember I had a creative writing class at Wayne County Community College, and we had to bring in a poem, and recite it in front of the class. So, I'll give you 3 guesses as to what I chose.
A poem that you had?
It was a rap verse. I'll give you that.
I have so many swimming, but...
So, I chose Common's verse off of, what song is that? That's not Redefinition. That is, what is, oh man. I'm going to Black Star's album right now. It was Common's verse off of, man, what was that song? Where's that album? I got it here. I know I have it here. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Not Knowledge of Self. Respiration. Common's verse on Respiration. That's the verse I used. Because it was dope, man. That's before Common was acting.
Yeah. But who maintained? I just thought about this. We were talking about the people that didn't. Like that, like they were like, oh, they fell off after that. Mos Def, man. Yeah,
yes, he did. I'll never forget when I first saw Brown Sugar, and I first heard him rapping that
Cass.
song. Yes, I was like, oh!
You actually thought his name was Cass? Like, oh, that's Cass. Yeah. Like, no, that's Mos Def.
Yeah, man. I was
like, that guy has so much soul and flavor, and you look for an embodiment of hip hop, and
Mos Def, man.
Yeah, but his political stuff went too far, and I just hope we get him back.
Yeah,
hopefully
he can come back in the country. I think he can.
It's too much, Back off. A lot of people have a problem with America, but if we weren't America as we are now, this podcast wouldn't be taking place.
It's true. It's true. All right. So, what can you give the people? All right. So, I usually have these 7 questions. Like I asked you these 7 questions before when I, did the blog post.
Okay.
But it's about fatherhood. So, because that, and in actuality, that's pretty much what we're about. So, if you had some advice to give to somebody, what would be the first thing you told them about being a father?
It's the greatest job ever.
Expound on that for a little bit.
It's the greatest job ever. You get to improve the world right from your home. I teach diversity. I teach respect, self-awareness. It's funny. I'm gonna tell a story. Brianna came to me one day and was like, Dad, like other kids have stars and stuff on their walls. Like, you don't think it's weird that you have a bunch of posters of myself on my wall? And I was like, one day you'll understand why I put a bunch of pictures of yourself on your wall. Sometimes you have to be your own hero and show people that, your value system. It was posters of her running track.
Okay.
She had one of her music posters from one of her concerts, basketball, tons of basketball pictures. But I just wanted her to know that she was important and she means something. Oh, so, hey, celebrate your own. You can have other people on there that you look up to, but hey, you're going to be on your own, on someone's wall one day. So, hey, start at home.
Hey, that's deep right there, man. Like, that's something different, man,
Yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit earlier. So with the gap between the ages and your kids, what are some of the struggles that you have with kind of, I guess, balancing the needs of all 3? And I know it's probably easier with the younger 2. But
it's not.
Really?
Yes. I don't have, air quotation, I don't have what Trice needs right now. He needs mommy a little bit more.
Yeah.
But no, we have a rule at my house. This is a funny rule. I don't know if you've ever been on the phone with me when I'm driving home. I don't go in my house on my cell phone.
I don't either.
I can't go in my house on my cell phone. And I would come in, sometimes I would come in and I'd be on my phone and then I'd hang up and like everyone would go to their respective stations in the house. I'm like, what happened? And Key was like, you came in on your cell phone. Like, that ends at the door. So, and it was surprising because Brianna, which is my oldest, would always be the first one to greet me at the door. And if I was on my phone, she'd turn right around and go back to her room. And I never understood that. Like, what's the problem? Like, you come in on your phone all the time. No, Dad. Like, that attention belongs to us now. Yeah. So,
yeah. All right, man. So, how has being a father changed you? Especially as you got older.
I calmed down so much. I was a bit of a hothead. Okay. Now, I had to logically process things. My wife would be like, hey, you can't chase shoplifters.
Oh,
from back in the day. You can't chase shoplifters because you have a family to go home to. And, you don't need to invite that danger into your life. So, I calmed down a lot.
I did that one time at Walgreens.
Yeah, but I've calmed down a lot. I've learned to logically process things and don't just fire off because of the first emotion that comes through me. So
that could be difficult for some people because I know it was difficult for me. And, I'm not really a hothead, but, man, it was just kind of like you're so used to using your emotions to direct everything, and I wasn't necessarily really thoughtful of how, I was thoughtful of how other people felt, but I was just, it was kind of like you asked me a question and depending on how my emotional state is,
what I'm going to say to you.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that was one of the big things that I really, really had to learn how to navigate because that can be difficult, especially you come in for a long, hard day at work. Mm-hmm. Your wife is there with the kids. She asks you a question, and you like, why are you asking me? You should already had this done, you know?
I'm so guilty of that.
Oh, man.
I'm so guilty of that. And, you know, I shouts out to Kia again for just putting up with that, because I used to have a thing where I didn't want anyone to talk to me when I first got home. That's so rude. Mm-hmm. But it was like, don't talk to me. Like, let me settle in, and then we can have a conversation. Like, that was so rude. But she gave me that space, and then now I know that space that she gave me, I can use that on the car ride home. So, like, usually I'll talk to her and say, hey, I'm on my way home. And then sometimes we may talk, but, hey, use that time to get all of that stuff out from work or whatever you were doing before you got home, and then come home fresh. Mm-hmm. So, you know, parents, husband and wife teams out there, hey, use that time, that travel time between work and home to get it all out. So
you can decompress.
Decompress.
Man, sometimes people don't understand, like, if they don't decompress, then...
Right. Throw on your favorite Mace song and drive home.
All right, I got two more questions.
Okay.
Right? So I'm curious as to how your kids' personalities reflect your own.
Wow. So, Brianna embodies my, Brianna embodies all of the things that I wish I could have done successfully, you know, just navigating through life. Like, she is the workhorse, like that academia that I have to practice in order to be the best. Like, she has that. And I look at that and I'm like, wow, like, I'm impressed by her. Like, just the practice that she puts in, like, the dedication. She shows me what hard work is. Like, I was so glad to see her home, like, her freshman year. Like, yes. And my baby's going to be home. She got off of the court. She was reading on the car ride home. And for her schoolwork that she had to do, and she still had 4 days left before she had to go back, but she started on it instantly. And I'm like, wow, like, that's hard work, and that's something that I embody, but, like, I wanted to enjoy her, but hey, you gotta let her be her. Yeah. Elena has my strong will. Yeah. Gosh, she has my strong will. And, I'm afraid and excited at the same time to see where that's gonna go. And, Trace is a handsome dude, and that's what I have from him.
All right, so last question. Mm-hmm. All right, so if you could sum up fatherhood, take everything that encompasses it. Mm-hmm. If you could sum it up in one word, what would that word be?
Love.
That's real.
Yeah, love. I love them. I love who they're becoming. I love my role in it. And like I told you before, it's no better job. There's no greater job than being a dad.
I agree. Yep. All right, well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I want to thank you, Kenyada Wilson, who, and it's funny because I never call him Ken. I always call him Will.
That's weird that you actually, you know, I always tell people, like, I can tell you when I met you by what you call me. It's Ken, Will, Kenyada. You know, I can tell when I met you. Yeah, because it's always Will. Yes.
You know, it was like, I remember the first time I put you on my phone as Kenyada, and you called me. I'm like, who is this? And I'm like, oh, wow, no, you know. But, you know, it's just, that's what it is, you know. Yeah. So, but I want to thank Kenyada for coming on the show, helping me. And this was an icebreaker for me because this is my first time ever interviewing somebody. So, you know, it's only going to be more of this, you know, where that came from. I want to say thank you to our sponsors. And our last sponsor is Relaxed by J Mace. You need beaded bracelets. You need earrings. I got you. Okay. So you need beaded bracelets. You know, you need earrings. You need necklaces. He just takes his time, puts all these beautiful things together. Find him on Instagram at Relaxed by J Mace. You can find him on Facebook at Relaxed by J Mace. And they're not gonna break the bank. You know, $15, $20, $25. And this brother puts in his hard work, you know, his sweat, you know, and just to craft some beautiful bracelets. So, that's what it is. If you want one of those, just find them on Facebook or Instagram at Relax by J Mace. Will, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you for
being the first guest, man. Woo! You don't know how much easy this was to get off my chest.
That's good. That's good.
Because, this is what I embody. Just two guys having a conversation with each other, and just talking about their story.
We could have went another 3 hours.
We could have.
Seriously?
Because we got a lot to catch up on. But, when you get to talking to somebody, especially about a common bond, you can talk all day about it.
There you go.
All right, brother. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Black Dad Chronicles. You know where you can find me. You can find me on Facebook at the Black Dad Chronicles. You can find me on Twitter at Black Dad Chron. You can email me if you got any questions, suggestions, comments at blackdadchron@gmail.com. I'm on iTunes. The show is on iTunes. So listen, subscribe, download, share it. 5-star review. You can also find me on SoundCloud and Spreaker.com. It's the Black Dad Chronicles. Everywhere you go, where your podcasts are, where you can get your podcast from. That's where I am. Peace and love.